What's going on, Jerome? So we've said it 17,000 times. The Minnesota Vikings are just odd. Like in terms of a mid-market team, they punch well above their weight in terms of random ass stories and narratives. And of course, the Vikings 2024 having this really fun, really phenomenal season, having not one but two special teams injuries. Like I know that there's been like an increase in kicker injuries this season, but who gets their long snapper hurt? All right, so Will the Thrill Reichard, unfortunately, going down with a quad issue on injured reserve. Missed a couple of kicks against the Colts because of the injury, as well as Andrew DePaola slicing up his hand, needs some surgery, also going on injured reserve. The All-Pro long snapper. It's just so weird. It's just so weird and random. And yeah, of course, Will the Thrill in the midst of a phenomenal rookie season should be in, would have been in Pro Bowl consideration, but it is what it is, but pretty safe to say the Vikings do have themselves a solid kicker going forward, as well as the Vikings making some replacement moves. John Parker Romo taking over for Reichard in the interim. Romo had been on the Vikings 90-man rooster at the beginning of training camp. It does have a pretty solid leg, so hopefully things won't be won't be as bad for the offense going forward, as well as Jake McQuaid, veteran, taking over at long snapper, currently on the practice squad, will be elevated on game days. He does have crossover with special teams coach Matt Daniels with the Rams as well as the Cowboys, right? So the question is, without Reichard and DePaola, what's going to happen? All right, so there's a couple ways that this could go. Number one, for a while you're going to hold your breath on special teams because it's one thing to replace one of the three parts on the extra point and field goal unit: snap, spot, kick, and now the only holdover is Ryan Wright, right? And so now you have to worry about the snap, you have to worry about the hold, you have to worry about the kick, and all three of those things have to happen in concert. And it's not really hyperbolic to say that. I understand that sometimes special teams gets pooped on as it was like, oh, that's just kicking. No, repetition is so damn key just to get that right over and over and over again. Plus, these are all high stress situations, right? High leverage spots, and these players are human. Sometimes they think about, oh, what if I mess this up? What if I do this? What if I do that? That's why I have a ton of respect for DePaola because you could say, like, oh, we have an all-pro long snapper, but imagine having a bad long snapper. And we've been there at times. Like, remember Austin Cutting when he got the yips? That was no good, man. But so initially, the Vikings may have to hold their breath on special teams every single time. Plus, I mean, they may go for two more. I don't necessarily see that unless there's a couple of spots on extra point where it's just like, this is not working out, where there's a failure in the process. Punt coverage could change because people forget that long snappers are always uncovered, and there's so many rules to protect them that they are a key asset in terms of covering punts. Because, I mean, DePaola and most long snappers are usually the third or fourth guy down the field, right? Because you have your two punt gunners. Some teams that have a third trailing in there, and then it's the long snapper who's basically gets a free run. So it could change for a bit as McQuaid gets acclimated in there. Also, I don't know, maybe they'll be a little bit gun shy. It's like, oh, we just got our last long snapper hurt. Yeah. Also, being more aggressive on third and fourth down, not just like going forward on fourth, but also potentially altering the play call on third, depending on down and distance and part of the field. Because with Will Reichard, obviously they understood his range of 55 plus, maybe even 60 plus, and that could change some of the play calling depending on the down and distance on that part of the field. And with Romo, I mean, respect, Romo's got himself a big leg, had a set the XFL league record for distance at 57 before that got broke. So it's not like he's a neophyte there, but it's not just him. Like I said, it's a snap, it's a spot, it's the hold, and maybe initially they don't have extreme confidence in that. So maybe instead of settling for a 55, 56-yard field goal, maybe Kevin McConnell will be a little bit more aggressive, at least on third down, and potentially even going for it on fourth down. Also, it's a ton of stress on Ryan Wright, the holder, because he's the only hold over, pun intended, and now he has multiple new factors coming in because he's sort of stuck in the middle. So now he has to get acclimated from taking snaps from a new long snapper, which, again, the Vikings had two long snapper injuries. Cullen Loeffler from back in the day, and now DePaola. It's so odd. And kicker injuries happen, right? So I feel like if you're the holder, getting right with a new guy, swinging the leg, it's fine. But at the same time, you have to deal with a new long snapper that may have different placement, may have different tendencies, may have different spin on the ball, and then also, I mean, it's on you, man. So you have to catch that clean. You have to get it down the way that Romo likes it, and then Romo swing the leg and all that stuff. So it's going to be just a cavalcade of nonsense. But I'm glad that I'm actually glad that Reichard and DePaola, like they're going to get taken care of on injured reserve, back to 100% for the stretch run, and now that you do have an extended period of time with Romo as well as McQuaid, but. Take everything with special teams with a grain of salt, and if there's a shank kick, don't necessarily blame it on Romo. Don't necessarily blame it on anyone, because there's going to be a lot of moving pieces. But hopefully we'll be good to go for this moment. Oh, also, Ryan Wright punting too. That's certainly going to be different as well with McQuaid long snapping. But it's always the next thing. Right, and hell, like I said, maybe the Vikings will just become the Lions, always going for fourth down and always going for two. Because why the hell not at this point, man? But that's it. Your thoughts are thoughts. The effects of losing Will Reichard as well as Andrew DePaola. Let us know your comment section. You guys know what to do. Skull production value.